In this video, we're going to have a look at how to find the total surface area of a composite 3D shape. When you're finding the total surface area of a composite shape, there are two different methods you could use. The first one is drawing a net, which consists of the individual sides that are present within the composite shape, calculating the area of each of those shapes that make up the composite shape, and then adding all of those shapes together to find the total surface area. The second method is by using formulas that you know for total surface area of 3D shapes. First you need to do is break the composite 3D shape into smaller shapes, calculate the total surface area of each of those individual shapes. If those shapes join and some of the area of the individual shapes disappear, you need to calculate the area of the joins and then add all of the individual shapes together and subtract any joining sides. There are the two methods you can use when calculating the total surface area of a composite shape. So let's have a look at an example and see how we can apply each of these methods. The example asks us to calculate the total surface area of the composite 3D shape shown. Looking at the shape, we can see it consists of a rectangular prism down the bottom, and then the square base pyramid up the top, and where the join is the base of the pyramid and the top of the rectangular prism is not present. Now, because there is no formula to calculate the total surface area of a square base pyramid, the method here to calculate the total surface area of the composite shape would be to draw a net of that 3D composite shape and then calculate the area of each individual component and add them all together at the end. So let's start off by having a look at the net that we need to draw. So at the bottom of the composite shape, we have a square. So we'll start off drawing our net by drawing a square in the middle of that net. Now we will build the net for the rest of the shape around the square. So we've started at the bottom, moving up. Next we have our sides of the rectangular prism. And moving around the shape, we are going to have a total of 4 sides that are going to be rectangles, all of the same length and width, that form up this side of our rectangular prism. So our next step in drawing the net is to add in those 4 rectangles on the sides of our square. So now that we have done the sides that form up the rectangular prism, we can have a look at the square base pyramid that is on top, and that consists of 4 triangles that join onto each rectangular side. So to complete our net, we have to draw 4 triangles, each joining on to the 4 rectangles. So now that we've added in those 4 triangles, we have a complete net that represents the composite 3D shape from our example. And before we start the individual calculations, what we want to do is go through and add in our dimensions. So the sides of our square are going to be 5 centimeters long. Our rectangles are going to be 5 centimeters wide and then 2 centimeters long. And then our triangles are going to have a 5 centimeter base, and the height of those triangles are 4 centimeters. Now, they're all the measurements we're going to need to be able to do our calculations to calculate the area of each of those individual components. So we'll start off our calculations by calculating the area of the square, and we'll call that A. So the area of A is going to be side squared. So substituting in the values, and with 5 squared, which is 25 centimeters squared, and we can add that 25 centimeters squared onto our net. So next we'll have a go at calculating the area of the rectangles, and we'll call our rectangles B. So area of B is going to be equal to length times width. Substituting in the values, it's going to be 5 times 2, which is equal to 10 centimeters squared. So each of our rectangles is going to have an area of 10 centimeters squared. And the last shape that we need to do is our triangles. So we'll call them shape C. So the area of shape C is going to be base times height divided by 2. Substituting in our values, it's going to be 5 times 4 divided by 2, which is equal to 10 centimeters squared. So we'll add that in to our net as well. So now that we have the area of each of our individual shapes, we can go ahead and calculate the total surface area of the composite shape. So to calculate the total area, or the total surface area, we need to add all of our sides together. So to do that, we need to have a look at how many of each shape that we've got. So we've got 1 of shape A, we've got 4 rectangles, so 4 shape B, and 4 triangles, so 4 of shape C. So we can write that down as total surface area equals the area of A plus the area of B times 4 plus the area of C times by 4. Substituting in the values, so 25 plus 10 times 4 plus 10 times 4, and that is going to equal to 105 centimeters squared. So the total surface area of the composite shape in our example is 105 centimeters squared. So that's an example of how we can calculate the total surface area of a composite shape by breaking the shape apart, drawing the net, and calculating the individual areas of each shape that compose the net, and then adding them together at the end.